Hello. My name is Patrick Proctor. I'm the attorney for the Burmese Advocacy Center. I also sit on the board of directors for the Burmese Advocacy Center. I'd like to address, can you hear me okay? I'd like to address a couple questions, one that you asked and one that you had asked. First off, on the donation, the Burmese Advocacy Center is grateful for the donation. We, like all not-for-profits, are feeling the stress of the economic crisis right now. The BAC was set up to try and help integrate the Burmese refugees into society, and we're working on several different avenues to do that. The way, as we sit, sorry, the way we are funded right now, up until this donation, we don't have any funding that would allow us to do the kind of cultural diversity training that might have headed off the problems, whatever the problems were. I'll get to that in a second, at Rickers. We're very appreciative of this donation because we have an interest in doing that. And one of the interests of the BAC is not just to train and educate the Burmese refugees on what American culture is like and what you do and don't do here, but to educate the American culture and people that have been here for their lives what the Burmese have been through, what they know, what they come from. These people, the refugees that have been coming in recent years have nothing. They've been living in refugee camps in Thailand, some of them their whole lives. They're undereducated, they have no money, and they need whatever help they can get. America should be proud that it's offering a home to these people. Fort Wayne should be proud, and I think it is, as the mayor said, to be offering a home to these people. I'm ashamed at what I've read in the media. I'm ashamed at the letters to the editor that I've read. I'm ashamed at what I've overheard people in restaurants commenting about Burmese. And I don't know why everybody is interested and so focused on, well, what happened? What did they do? All we heard, or what we heard at the beginning anyway, was that they were spitting these beetle seeds onto the floor. Now, the BAC wasn't part of any investigation. We don't know what happened or who did it, and frankly, we don't care. The sign was an inappropriate reaction, and Rickers acknowledges that, and I applaud them for that. I think Rickers has stood up and done the right thing, and I think few employers would have reacted the way they have. And I'm very proud, as the mayor, that they've reacted the way they have. I'm discouraged that everybody still wants to focus on, well, what was the conduct? And they want to attribute it to a whole culture and race of people. There are approximately 7,000 Burmese living in this area. They are composed of at least 4 major cultural groups. They speak different languages, they have different religions, they have different political beliefs, they have different levels of education, different careers. You cannot say just because one or a handful of people did some conduct that is what the Burmese do. They don't even consider themselves all Burmese. There's a whole culture, there's the Karen, there's the Chin, there's the Mon. The Karen don't consider themselves Burmese. They speak Karen, they don't speak Burmese. We call them Burmese because they're all from Burma. So I would encourage, not just the media, but your readers, viewers, everybody, to start thinking of the Burmese as people. Like you might think of a white person or a black person, Asian person, whoever. We're all people. And someone can do something wrong. Someone might break something, someone might violate a law. That doesn't mean everybody from that race or culture is dirty or commits crimes. We got to think bigger than that. If we're going to be a better society, we have to think bigger than that. And I think I am very appreciative of Gerald because Metro, on its own initiative, undertook this investigation. That's because the Burmese don't even know that Metro exists. They don't even understand what the civil rights laws are. So no one knew to come file a charge. If this had happened, if there had been a sign, no blacks allowed, a charge would have been filed that day. Someone would have come down to Metro and filed a charge. No one did because the Burmese aren't that sophisticated. Most of them don't even have transportation. So I applaud Metro for undertaking the investigation. I applaud Rickers for coming forward, and the fact that there was such a quick settlement is because everybody, on the official level, everybody had the right frame of mind. Everybody had the right heart. Now the public and society needs to have that same heart. Reach out to each other. If we start looking at the Burmese as something inferior, they're going to view us as the enemy too. And what does that do? Nothing. So again, we're going to take this check. The BAC is going to try and develop some programs that can help educate society at large to Burmese culture and problems. We're also going to try and work with anyone that comes forward that's having a problem. Like I'm told that Rickers at this facility, roughly half of their patrons are Burmese. If there's other employers out there that have a large population of Burmese patrons, we're happy to work with you, the BAC, to try and overcome any language barriers, cultural barriers that you have. But we just ask that people just be kind, be patient, be tolerant.
Right. I think the question here, it sounds like you just mentioned that money would be used to help work with establishments that work with a lot of the Burmese. And I think there's also the sense that is there part of that money going to actually work with the Burmese themselves to help them understand our
Well, the BAC already has in place. And by the way, I would like to acknowledge that it's not just the BAC that's out there working with the Burmese population. There are many other not-for-profits that do. St. Joe Community Health Foundation, which is our fiscal agent, has a lot of programs in place. Catholic Charities has a lot of programs in place. But we have some programs in place where we already do training for the Burmese to the extent that we can get them in. And we can get them in pretty easily because they need jobs, they need help getting to health care, they need help getting a driver's license, everything, they need help. So they come to us. We already offer training. And we'll probably offer, and I can't give you specifics because our board, this is not a large, I mean it's significant amount of money from a rigor standpoint, but for purposes of funding the program, it's not that much. We have to decide what our needs are and how we can use it. But we will try to expand our programs to address cultural issues. But I think there's already in place things about health and sanitation. What we're really looking at, wanting to do, is have a program for offering, and I don't know yet how it would be done. It'd probably be something that we would not do at the Community Center for Refugees, but we would do somewhere out, maybe at a library or something, but we would advertise it for public at large to educate people about Burma and about the problems of the Burmese and the problems that they have even when they come here. I wish I could tell you more about what we're going to do, but we don't know yet. The board's got to sit down and talk about it. We've got to look at other funding sources, come up with a plan, and it may take a couple of months. So.
I completely get what you're saying. I'm a minority. I can't even tell you what happens when I try to travel. But what I guess we're all trying to portray to you is if someone would have just come out in the beginning or maybe even now and said, this is what a handful of people did. Not the Burmese as a culture, but a handful of people did. And this is what happened afterwards. And this is what the measures that we took to correct it or whatever. Then I think that would have kind of maybe helped your cause and not put more in the rumor mill in the public, because what's happening right now in the public is just, they're making their own stories up, and because they're not getting anything from, you guys. And
I acknowledge I've heard the rumor mill too, but the problem is, if I were to answer your question, it would be rumor mill too. I mean, all I know is that the habit of spitting or chewing on these beetle seeds and spitting them out that's a real thing. Not every Burmese people do it, but some do, just like some people here chew tobacco. And at our facility, we put a sign up, no spitting the seeds, and they comply. And I think, I can't speak to it, but I believe that they're no longer having that problem at Rickards also. Beyond that, I don't know if there's anything. I know there's a lot of rumors, and I guess I'm not going to speculate on what it was, and I don't see, and my point is I don't see the point in talking about it because I don't think it helps. I think if there was something really egregious, more egregious than that came out, then people are just going to attribute it to the Burmese.
Well, I've got to say, the mayor said this is a two-way street of education, and the attorney from Rickards says this is something that is accepted, or I don't know if accepted was the word you used, but something that goes on in their culture. So what would be the harm in educating us about what exactly happened? Because if it truly is something that is accepted in their culture, would we not need to know about that? Your logic in that just...
Well, I think I can't speak for Tony, but I think he's talking about this.
I'd invite him to speak.
Can we ask, has the behavior stopped? Is there no longer the problem of the spitting of the nuts in that establishment?
Can you come to the microphone and ask it?
It is much reduced. Yeah, we are much reduced, but not gone.
Okay. I don't know what Tony is going to say, but I want to thank you all for coming. We, from the Commission standpoint, we consider this issue resolved, and thank you very much.